Hi, I'm Ronnie with Designing Dishes. If you're following Designing Dishes, you know we're in a slightly different venue today. We're in my kitchen. I decided I wanted to make a few of my family's favorite foods, and where better to do that than here in our home. Today I'm going to make corn chowder, which is a favorite of one of my daughters and my granddaughter. Now I know there are a lot of different corn chowder recipes out there. And the thing that makes this one so different is that it's super simple, it's super delicious. Everybody I've ever served it to says it's the best corn chowder ever that they have had. And it's made with just a few ingredients, most of which we all have in our pantry all the time. So it's the kind of thing, if you want to make it on the spur of the moment, you probably have the ingredients to do so. Let's hop on over to the stove and get started. Into our stock pot, I have put 1/4 a cup of butter, which is melting, over medium-high heat. And I'm going to add now 1/2 a cup of flour. Of course, this mixture, as you know from previous videos, is called a roux. Typically, though, a roux is even parts. In other words, if you have 1/2 a cup of flour, typically you would have 1/2 a cup of butter. In this case, we're trying to go a little lighter with our fat content, and so therefore I have reduced the butter down to 1/4 of a cup to that 1/2 a cup of flour. It's very important that you let this cook for about 1 minute over medium to medium-high heat, and that's going to help your corn chowder to taste better. It will get rid of the starchy flavor that the flour would have if you did not allow it to cook. You don't want this to brown. If it begins to brown, you're going to pull it off of the stove and you're going to let it cook off of the burner just on the residual heat that's in the bottom of the pan. Just stir it from time to time as it cooks for that 1 minute, and we are just about ready for our next ingredient, which is 2 cups of chopped onion. Stir the onion around with the roux, and we're going to let the onions cook until they become slightly translucent, and they also will have a slightly sweaty look or a wet look on the outside of the onions, and that's going to tell us that the onions are cooked and they are ready for the next step to begin. That will take about 5 minutes for the onions to cook until they are translucent. We're ready to add 2½ cups of chicken broth. The onions are nice and tender, and yes, this makes just a little bit of steam. We've got this on medium heat now. We've turned it down just a little bit from medium-high to medium. And I like to use a wire whip to mix at this point because I want to make sure that there aren't any lumps of flour in with this mixture. And so I'm just going to take my wire whip and go around in here until I feel nothing sticking to the bottom of the pan, and I also see that it's a real smooth mixture. And we are ready then to keep going. So next we're going to add our corn, and our corn is canned corn. We have a 15-ounce can of kernel corn in this bowl and a 15-ounce can of the cream style corn. So that's going to go in together. And next we're going to add salt and pepper. We have a teaspoon of salt and 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. And of course the amount of salt that you're going to use, it's going to be up to your own preference, and it also may depend on how much salt was in the chicken broth that you're using. If you're using canned broth without any sodium, then it would be, less salt that would be in the broth. If you're using canned or dehydrated chicken broth or chicken bouillon, it might have more salt, so you might need less salt to taste. Next is 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire, And then I've mixed my spices in one container, but this is a ½ teaspoon of dried dill and a 1/4 teaspoon of marjoram and 1 dash of nutmeg. And folks, I'm here to tell you that this is just about everything that goes in this corn chowder. All that we're going to add next, and when the potatoes are cooked and everything. Oops, I didn't add those potatoes. Hang on just 1 second. I almost forgot them. This is 2 potatoes, which, if you're measuring them, it's about 2 cups of diced potatoes. So 2 medium potatoes should do you just fine. I'm going to blend that in. Blend this all together. And we are ready now to bring this up to a boil over low heat. And don't put a lid on it. We're going to let it simmer just until the potatoes are done. So bring it up to a boil, and when the potatoes are cooked, we'll be back and see how it looks. Our corn chowder has been simmering for 25 minutes on low heat, medium, well, no, really low heat. And the potatoes are cooked. All you do, is just take a fork and test the potatoes and see if they're fork tender. And now we're ready for the final 2 ingredients. One of them is a few dashes of hot sauce. Now, some hot sauce brands are all about heat. I don't particularly care for those that are just about heat. I like the ones that are more about flavor. And there's 2 or 3 brands that are truly not real super spicy. They're just flavorful. So that to me is like one of the key ingredients that's going to finish up this corn chowder. And the final ingredient, well, what could be bad about a cup of heavy cream? That's 8 ounces of heavy cream. Stir that in, and ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's it. The chowder is done. It's ready to be consumed. Now, if you'd like, you can, of course, make this a day or 2 ahead, put it in the refrigerator. A lot of people say that soup benefits from sitting overnight in the refrigerator, and I do believe that's true. I believe the flavors marry in the refrigerator, and you get a lot better taste. But it's ready to go. Super simple. Here's our finished bowl of corn chowder. We've garnished it with a little sprig of curled green onion stems, and to do that, basically all you do is just take a green onion and slice it until it's real thin. Put a piece of nice crusty whole wheat bread alongside. Finish it off with a beautiful green salad. You've got a complete meal. If you want to serve your meal like this with a salad and a soup, the recipe for the corn chowder would probably serve about 10 people. If you're going to serve it as a main dish with just the soup, it probably would serve around 8. I hope you enjoyed the corn chowder recipe, and I hope you make it. Remember, you can find Jan and I in Designing Dishes on Facebook and also on designingdishes@gmail.com. Thanks for joining me, and see you again next time.